Good morning and welcome to Southern Cross Go. My name's Grant and today we're going to talk about retirement in Bali. Now this is a huge topic at the moment. There's so many people moving to Bali. The cost of living in Australia and the Western world, in all the Western countries, is just out of control. So many more people are moving to Bali. Now let's discuss today the price it's going to cost to basically set up. So your first year is going to be a completely different year of costs. Setting up the first year is where most of your expenses are going to go to. There's so many videos out there of people saying, look, you can live in Bali for $500 or $1,000 a month, but the reality is, well, let's discuss the reality, especially for setting up your first year. So let's dive into it and just see what the basic costs it'll be for you to come and retire in Bali, Indonesia, or anywhere in Indonesia for 2025. So let's go. Okay, so a mistake that a lot of people make is they've come here for holidays for years and years and years. They love Bali, and when they retire here and actually move here permanently, they still act like they're on a holiday. They're spending up, they're eating in the restaurants all the time, they're drinking in the bars all the time. And if you're going to do that, you're really going to spend a lot of money. You're looking at 30, you can even spend 50 grand a year here, easily, if you want to. So my suggestion is when you move here, you settle down, just act like you did back home. You know, you've got to just go out when you know, a few times a week maybe, and eat, start cooking at home more and acting like a more permanent lifestyle. If you're just sitting in the bars all day drinking and always eating restaurant food in the tourist areas, you're going to go broke very quickly. Okay, so if you're thinking of retiring here in Bali, the first thing you're going to have to do is organise your visa. Now I suggest if you're coming over to Indonesia, you know, thinking you're going to live here, you're better off coming on a tourist visa first. Maybe get a 60-day visa before you come, and that'll give you the first 2 months to organise your permanent visa or your retirement visa. So you need to be 60 years old to get the retirement visa these days, and you're going to need a sponsor. So most people use an agent. Now the average price of this these days is about 12 to 14 million rupiah, which is about, you know, $1,200 to $1,400 per year. So your visa is going to cost you about $100 a month on average. So that is part of your initial cost. Now I suggest that you research different agents. I've got the prices of what visas really cost in Indonesia. Now you'd be very surprised because the price is probably 12-13 million for an agent to do it, but the actual cost of a visa is a lot cheaper. So really you need all your paperwork together. You just hand it to an agent and they're charging you like $1,000 a year just to lodge your papers for you and get you a ticket to say, here, it's time to get your photo done. So, you know, really it only costs a couple of $100 for your visa and your entry exit permit, maybe $250, and they're taking $1,000 off you. Now you have to pay that because unless you've got a girlfriend or married or whatever, they're your sponsor, so you're stuck with them. Once you use that one agent, make sure you pick a good agent because you're stuck with them then for good. Okay, so this is all the prices for different visas. Kita temporary stay 6 months is 1 million. Temporary stay 1 year is 1,500,000. For 2 year Kitas, 2 million. For a Kita, 5 years is 5 million. For unlimited permanent stay, that's what I got, an unlimited lifetime visa. It's 10 million. You never have to pay again. You just come in and report every 5 years. So for your entry exit permit, 6 months is 600,000. 1 year is 1 million. For 2 years is 1,750,000. And if you overstay your visa on any visa, it's 1 million a day you pay for overstay. If you get an agent to do, you can just make sure you get them to get you an SKTT card. Now this is essential. It gives you a NIC number, which is like your ID number, and it'll be your ID number for life. So make sure you get that SKTT card. Surat Keterangan Tempat Tinggal. Now you can go to the civil office and do this yourself. I always did myself. You go to the civil office in Denpasar, You show them your visa, you fill out a paper, and you'll wait about a week, go and pick it up. Now that's your ID card. Now that's on a KITAS, temporary resident. Once you have a KITAP, a permanent resident, you get a proper KTP card, KTP card, Katu Tanda Pandudu. Now that's your permanent ID card. You need to carry that with you everywhere you go. Once you are on a KITAP, after 2 KITASes, you can get a KITAP, a permanent resident, and then you can get a tax file number. You'll need your NIC number for anything, even buying motorbikes, anything. If you want discounts to go anywhere, you have to show your card to pay or your SKTT card. So make sure you get one, ask your agent to get it for you. If not, you've got to go into the civil office and make sure you do that yourself. Agents will not get you your SKTT or your card to pay. You have to do that yourself, so make sure you get it. Now forget what all the other expats say. Most of them are just getting an agent to do it. They never even bother getting their NIC number and their ID cards. Forget what they say. If you want to live here, you've got to do everything legal and everything properly, so make sure you get one. It will benefit you in the end. Okay, so every Westerner that lives in Bali, like every hotel, every night is supposed to register you with police where you're staying. They want to know every night that you stay in Indonesia where you are. So if you're applying for a KITAS or a KITAP or something, it's up to you to register yourself with police. Now for your area here, I'm in South Denpasar, we register in Sanur. So I must go to Sanur. There's a little office in the back of the police station where you register yourself. You just show and take a photocopy of your passport, show them your visa, and you pay by 3 monthly, 6 monthly or yearly. It doesn't cost much, a few dollars to register, and that way you're legally registered. Now once you get this registration, you also have to register with your local banja. So that might just be a photograph. You go to the Klian or the Kepala Desa and you ask the Klian, I need to register with you. You'll give them a photograph and you are then registered for the banja for that local area. Now you'll need this to get your SKTT card or your card to pay. So make sure you do it. Now forget what all their know-it-all expats say. They all say, what's this, I've never registered, but I've had the police turn up to my house and lucky I'd registered and had all my paperwork together or I'd be in trouble. So be careful, make sure you do everything right and do everything legal while you're here in Indonesia. That way you can there's nothing to fall back on, there's no trouble. So just do it. Takes you half an hour to go to the police station and register with the police, another half an hour to go to your local banja and register, and that proves where you're living so you can get your proper ID cards. So make sure you do it. You could pay $10,000 a year for rent, or you could be paying something like $2,000 a year for rent. Now if you just get out of the tourist areas like in South Denpasar and just out, maybe find a little perumahan, you can rent a 2 or 3 bedroom house for about 50 million a year, about $5,000 a year. And then if you take a lease for a few years, you can paint it out, do it nice, put a couple of air cons in and make yourself a nice little homey house that's away from the tourist area. If you've got a villa with a pool, you're looking at all these hidden extra costs, like someone to clean your pool. If you don't do it yourself, you've got to buy chlorine all the time. And the amount of time you're in a pool, really, I don't know whether they're even necessary. You can easily just go to any resort, buy a drink and swim in the pool if you want, or you got the beaches there. So that's your own preference. So accommodation, really, it's up to you what you want to spend. You can spend $2,000 a year probably for a cheap cost, right up to thousands of dollars, 10, 15, 20 grand for a villa. So really, it's hard to put a price on it. It's up to your own personal preference. So take that into consideration when you're renting. What sort of lifestyle do you want to lead here? A simple lifestyle and a cheap one? Or just throw shitloads of money at everything and have a very expensive lifestyle? That's up to you. It depends on how much money you've got, I suppose. Now, is Indonesia and Bali really the place that you want to be? I suggest maybe you travel a little bit in Asia and maybe check out Vietnam, check out Thailand, check out Cambodia, check out Malaysia, check out some different countries. Maybe have a little holiday when you first come over, or if you're doing visa runs, go somewhere different and see, because Indonesia might not be the place for you. So I suggest not taking too long term of a lease straight up, maybe just a 1 year one to start with, because in the end you might realise, look, I just don't want to be here. Now also you're going to need transport. You can rent a motorbike. You can probably rent a motorbike for as cheap as about $1 million a month, about $100 a month. My suggestion, if you're going to be here permanently, buy yourself a motorbike. You may as well buy yourself a motorbike. A brand new little scooter will probably cost you about $2,500. You can buy a second-hand one for $1,000 might be enough, and then you know it's yours. Now you can only buy motorbikes if you're on the right visa. Once you get a KITAS, you can buy a temporary resident, that is a KITAS, you can buy a motorbike. So I'd suggest maybe buying a bike if you're figuring on being here long term. Now insurance, here's another hidden cost that people just don't really think about. Now you must be insured while you're here in Indonesia. Now there's things like safety wing, you can pay monthly, and you can keep extending that out when you're out of the country. Most insurance companies, if you get like travel insurance for your first year, you can just get 1 year's travel insurance, but you can't renew that unless you're back in your home country. But with safety wing, you can. So there's one company, there's all different companies. You'd have to really research it. Now, if you've got the right visa, you can get the BPJS government insurance here. Now that's what I've got because I'm a permanent resident. You can't do it on a KITAS, that's a temporary resident. You must have a KITA, and then you get like a proper ID and a tax number, and then you can get the BPJS insurance. Now I pay about $18 a month, and that's full VIP cover. And yeah, it's great. You know, I get my own private hospital room, all my medicine, everything. A few years ago, I had a massive heart attack. You know, I was in hospital for a while. It was all fully covered by PPJS. All my heart medicine, which is very expensive if you have to buy it, was all supplied, and monthly checkups ongoing for as long as I want. So that's one thing you really got. Like, anything can happen, especially in your retirement years. You know, you're not young anymore. You can just have a heart attack like that. Anything can happen. You can have a motorbike accident. Anything could happen. So make sure that your insurance is valid and make sure you've got it. It's as simple as that. Now my suggestion is to start learning a little bit of Bahasa Indonesian. Learning a little bit of Indonesian really will help you and go a long way. And just start learning. You can even do it at home. How to count is the most important thing, because everywhere you go here, you've got to watch your change. They'll shortchange you. People do all the time. So if you learn to count, once you learn from 1 to 10, then it's easy to learn how to count properly. So learn how to count, learn things like big, small, hot, cold, you know, things like that, and learn some basics. First start out learning to order food, and then you can progress from that. As time goes on, it takes years and years to be able to speak good Indonesian. It's taken me, well, I've been coming here since 1979, so 45 years I've been learning Indonesian, and I buckled right down. I used to write down like 10 words a day and go out and purposely practice it. If you want to learn full Indonesian, you really have to put the time in and effort in to learn it. And just do this for a couple of years, really learn it, either pay for a tutor, some Indonesian that's got really good English skills, and get them to teach you the basics of Indonesian. Now this is not only a hobby that keeps you busy, but it's fun. It's fun to be able to go out and speak a bit of Indonesian. Now it takes a long time. It's easy to sort of learn what you want to say and want to order, but it's a lot harder to understand what they're saying because you're reverting everything back to English in your mind. So, and by the time you do that, think of an answer to tell them, the conversation's gone. So being able to understand the language comes over time. So, you know, it takes years and years and years to be able to actually understand and speak the language, but it's a good hobby to learn, and it keeps you busy, and it definitely will be in your favour, because then if they think you know a bit of Indonesian, they're not going to look at you as much like a tourist, and you'll find things will end up being a lot cheaper and a lot easier to get around and survive. Now I suggest if you're going to move here and live here, get yourself some hobbies, get yourself something to do. There's nothing worse. I see it so much. If you drive around Kuta, the bars are full of expats that live here, and their whole life revolves around drinking in the bar. Now this isn't life. They're more or less drinking themselves to death. Every year I see a few people die of liver cancer and kidney failure and all sorts of stuff. So get yourself some hobbies. There's plenty of things to do here. You can play golf, you can go surfing, you know, you can just get a motorbike and go for rides and do things. You can actually explore a bit. Don't just come here and sit in the bar and waste your life away drinking. Really, it's not life. You may as well just stay at home and do that at home and not even bother coming here. So there's plenty of things to do here. You know, there's all sorts of clubs and activities and things you can do. The alcohol's fine. Don't get me wrong, it's all right to go to the beach and sit down there for sunset and have a couple of beers, but if you're drinking all day from morning till night, sooner or later it's going to be liver failure or just you're going to end up broke. You know, what I did was I went and bought a boat and started just going fishing and travelling around, camping in my boat and doing things like that. So everyone's got a different thing to do. The money that I save from not drinking, every 4 or 5 months I can go for a holiday and go to, you know, if you wait for cheap tickets to come up, you can fly up to Malaysia sometimes for $50, you know. So that's what we do. Twice a year we go travelling, like Malaysia, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand or whatever, for 3 or 4 weeks a month. And yeah, the money I save from not drinking, I can go travelling and experience a little bit of life and a little bit more of Asia. So I suggest definitely get yourself some hobbies while you're here, because your life's going to be a lot better in the long run. You know, you've also got, adding to the cost, you've got personal things like your shampoo, your toothpaste, you know, your basic things you need in life like coffee, milk. You know, you think about it, if you need a carton of milk every day, it's $2 a carton. Well, there's $60 a month. So, you know, if you only need one, you know, every 3 days, well, it's still $20 a month for milk. So small things like that really do add up and end up in the long term over a year, they add up to a lot of money. So you've really got to start budgeting yourself if you want to live here a long time and acting like this is your home and not just a tourist destination. For your first year, you really have to set up your house. Now, you're going to have to buy things like a refrigerator, like a microwave, a lounge suite, you know, some fans, you know, maybe put an aircon in your house, and all these personal household needs that are necessities. If you're retiring here, you want to retire comfortable. You don't want to come here on a budget. I know there's millions of videos out there, you can live in Bali for $500 a month, but they've got no life. They're in a little hot room with a fan and you know, they're doing, what are they doing, you know? If you're coming here for your retirement, you've been working all your life, you want to retire, and you come from Australia, you've got a nice house, you've got all the needs in the world that anyone wants. So when you're here, you've got to set yourself up to be comfortable. Come on, you've worked all your life, you've got all this money, you've got your superannuation, or you've sold your house, you're in Asia, you want to retire. Make yourself comfortable. Buy yourself a nice lounge suite, buy yourself a nice dining table and things that you really need. So there's another cost that goes into your first year setting up. Alright, so it's about $30 for Wi-Fi. Hey, my chicken's going off its head in the background. So Wi-Fi is about $30 a month. Satellite television's about $30 a month. Now, if you spend a lot of time at home, this is something that you probably would like to have. And yeah, just makes it a little bit more homey, a little bit more comfy. You can spend a bit of time around the house. And also your kitchen needs, you know. You might have to buy a little portable gas cooker and a gas bottle, and then a bunch of cooking gear, fry pans, pots, pans, blah, blah. Like, all this costs money. But once you've got it for years on end. So take this into consideration. This will be part of your setting up retirement costs. Okay, so let's talk about passive incomes. Like, you've retired, you've got your superannuation. Make sure you invest it right. Don't just leave your money in the bank. Make sure you put it in rollover term deposits. You know, you put it in cryptocurrency like Bitcoin or the stock market or something. Make sure that your money is actually making money, and you really don't have to touch your initial money. Like, if you've got $500,000 worth of superannuation and you put it over here at 5%, you know, there's, what's that, it's 25 grand a year interest you're going to get, and you can more or less live on that, and your money, your $500,000, is still sitting there and not getting touched. So make sure you just don't come here, party, 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 spending all your money, and just end up back at home in 5 or 10 years because your money's gone. Make sure you roll it over, invest it right, and this is a big one. I'm not suggesting come here and start a business. It's a lot more hard than what you think to do business in Indonesia. You know, you're more or less putting a lot of money out front just to get it back very slowly. And when you get it back slowly, you can't save it. You spend it and you use it, so you don't really see it coming back. Term deposits, they roll over every month. I get paid interest monthly, and then the new term deposit starts. And the government takes here 20% of that. So say I'm getting like $5,500 a month interest. Well, they'll take 20% of that, so they'll take, you know, $1 million out of that or something. And when I do my tax here every year, because I'm a permanent resident, I've got to have a tax number and pay tax, they already know that I've paid that. So you can actually earn here $50,000 about Australian, about $500 million rupiah before you pay tax. So I know in Australia you can only earn $18,000 or something, you start paying tax. Well, it's different here, you know. Okay, so that gives you a sort of basic idea on what it'll cost you for your first year to set up. Now, I could just go on and on and on for hours about more things that you need to set up in your first year. Now, when you look at it, basically you need your visa, you know, it's $1,200. You need a motorbike, it's a couple of grand. Your rent's going to be anything from $2,000 to $10,000, depending on what you want. Let's just say $5,000. You know, you need household appliances, might cost you $1,500, $2 for a telly and fridges and everything you need. You know, and you know, we haven't even got into food or anything like that for the year. So that depends on what sort of lifestyle and how much money you've got. So really you can't put a price on it set for every person. Every person's different, and it really depends on your age, how much money you've got left to survive on. So yeah, take all that into consideration. Now, I hope this video has been helpful. It's just my personal view on what it would really cost to set up. Now, this, after you set up the first year, it comes dramatically cheaper because you're set up, you've got everything. You've just got to eat and live a basic lifestyle. So anyway, I hope this video was very helpful for you. And if it is helpful in some way, you've got any thoughts on anything or what you want to know, please leave it in the comments. Ask me the questions. I'll try to answer every comment, and I normally do. So anyway, thank you from Southern Cross Go, and I hope to see you on the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.